A Swedish YouTuber named Headgear, aka Daniel Olsson, has a paranormal corner of their home that always seems to be shuffling objects around. All Daniel has to do is set up a camera and wait. So everything from a phone to a baby monitor is making small movements one after the other. Most of the objects are already halfway off camera though, so therefore moving them wouldn't be that hard to fake. If that blue box moved in the back, I would be more convinced. Also, the fact that nothing on the top shelf moves makes me all the more suspicious. But hey, I guess the poltergeist could have just been interested in the bottom row. I wish he got more of the bottom area to show he wasn't moving stuff around himself. But to be fair, I think Daniel was also trying to get the mirror in the shot. Based on this next video I'm about to show you, at 5 seconds something smacks his camera, yet we see nothing in the mirror. Then this strange shadow makes barely discernible movements in the upper corner of the room, hardly visible unless you know where to look, and even then still fairly difficult to see. Security footage shows a man letting his guard down while inside a scary looking warehouse building. Big mistake. One of the chairs moves by itself and he stares at it, too terrified to react. That's when the chair scoots forward again, and then they all fall down, even his own. I can't explain what the mysterious dark figure in the background of this video could be. Hopefully it's not a shadow person silently watching from one floor above. While staying at a haunted place in Mount Albert, Ontario, YouTuber Mr. Devilish and his friend face their fears. At first it seems like they have nothing to fear at all.
So like 15 minutes now, nothing's gone on. Chandelier, everything's good.
As you can see, the room is empty.
Nobody else is with us. Nobody.
But then this happens. Watch the kettle to the left.
He's talking and we're like, how are we gonna sleep here? And he was getting a little bit worried, like, and I was like, no, I don't care, like, really. What?
Well, I'm not sure what could explain this. The cameraman's delayed reaction to the kettle moving seems suspicious. Unless he was distracted, I'm not sure why he wouldn't have seen it right away. But if this is genuine, these guys need to get out, like yesterday. This YouTuber works security at a building that's so haunted, he can't even get past to the elevator without scary stuff happening. It's gotten to the point where he records anywhere he goes because the place is seriously that haunted by paranormal poltergeist activity everywhere. The building has a nice gym room, for example, but it seems the equipment is always in use one way or another. Weird things are always caught on camera moving around on their own when he's out of arm's length.
Para darles una sorpresa cuando vengan, que no saben que estoy aquí. ¡Hostias!
But it is perhaps this haunted playroom area that sees the most paranormal activity of all. So that's a lot of freaky stuff to have happened, but he's been making videos for years, and I've saved the absolute scariest video for last. You're not going to believe this one because it's that beyond creepy. He lives alone and hears the voices of a family coming from his room.
Vamos a ver. Que se han escuchado ruidos aquí estos días.
When he calls into the darkness, he is answered by the shadow person sighting. The dark outline of a shadow moving in the small amounts of light coming through a crack in the door.
Hostia, la luz. Uy.
There's no doubt that somebody was in there with him, but was it planned, or was it a real ghost sighting caught on video? I think when you look at all of the paranormal video evidence caught on tape, you'll conclude that this place is really haunted. He could be faking it, but I don't really see how. Also, with barely any views on his videos, I don't see why he would continue for years on end, unless it was really happening to him. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Project Bad 720, this redditor wrote, "We moved out of our last house cause the activity was getting out of hand. Now it's acting up again." The redditor also included that they're in West Texas. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some discussion about this video in the comments. Creepy Girl Tia wrote, "Sounds like you have brought something that a spirit is attached to, that you brought to your new place, or the spirit is attached to you." And Fiery Witchburn 333 has a similar sentiment saying, "The houses aren't haunted, you are. Seek help." And the uploader responded saying, "I actually believe I am being followed, so this makes sense. Do you think that's what's going on here? Let me know in the comments." A YouTuber named Nate Shot is talking about all of the haunted happenings at his apartment when this weird anomaly appears over his shoulder at 6 minutes in.
I'm not sure if you guys have ever experienced anything like this. I want you to tweet me and put in some comments any story that you guys have.
I was thinking it could just be the way light's coming in from his blinds, but apparently Nate Shot's house has been haunted by strange lights practically forever. Look at what happens when he leaves the camera on during a ghost hunt 4 years prior. First, it falls off its tripod without making hardly so much as a sound. And then the sweeper falls over. Followed by flashes of light that last for about the same length of time as the anomaly from the video before. If you have any doubt about the existence of poltergeists, this pair of videos will help put them to rest. The first was published by Tommy Wells in June of 2011. Filmed in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, it turns out this poltergeist is not so pleasant. The first clip shows little Christina's birthday party. After singing happy birthday, blowing out the candles, and starting to cut the cake, suddenly the faucet turns on full blast by itself.
Did you like your bicycle stuff you got for your birthday?
Oh, God told me it's gonna start again.
The family is afraid that it is going to start again and mess things up for everybody, but they're not sure exactly how it's going to happen. One of the adults shut off the faucet as another corralled the kids toward another room. Then things do start again. Pots and pans are projectiled from an upper cupboard, while the drawers open and close aggressively. One comes completely off its hinges and falls on the floor.
What the going on? Front room. Go front room. Let's go.
As if that weren't enough to convince you, in a second clip posted in November of 2013 by Bill Gursky, the owner says that things keep moving around the house. As he's talking about eating a pomegranate, the bowl he sets out on the counter has moved. He continues, stepping away from the counter, and over his shoulder, the bowl falls completely off the counter and onto the floor.
I'm kind of losing it here. Holy shit.
Security cameras around his home also show doors opening and closing on their own, a cushion falling off a piano bench, sheet music flying off the piano stand, sheet by sheet, and again the closet door opening and closing. Now, do you believe? The David Livingstone Centre is a reportedly haunted museum in Glasgow, Scotland. As these paranormal investigators are about to discover for themselves, they aren't even finished setting up their equipment when the poltergeist activity begins. First, something falls in the darkness, and then a piece of equipment flips over in front of them.
Oh.
They go to where the other object fell over and find one of the velvet ropes has come unhooked by itself. Since we didn't see it happen on video though, I guess we just have to take their word. Later, they head over to the chapel area where they think they see something move, but it's too dark to tell.
As if it's a person?
Yeah. Is she behind you?
When they take a picture of the corner of the chapel, however, this image of a shadow person is what they find. If you tick off a poltergeist, be ready for retaliation. YouTuber Andrew Duffy shares this scary footage of his experience dealing with a resident poltergeist named John. First, he hears something laughing.
Swear to just heard something. Sounded like a laugh or something like that. That was weird.
Did you hear it too? Andrew starts provoking the poltergeist.
Come on, John. Make something happen now if you're here.
And right away, he receives a response.
I know it's you, John.
Whoa. What the hell?
He opens the door to find no one there, but one thing is out of place.
Show yourself. We know you're more than capable. Right, that frickin' door's been opened.
More sound is heard from the laundry room.
Let's go and see what's happening in here. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's got to be done. Let's do it. Show yourself, John. Don't be a coward.
Then, as he's heading downstairs, Poltergeist John throws the boots at him.
That's just hit me in the f***ing head, you you
Downstairs, John shows he means business.
Whoa! 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 Holy...
And he won't stand for being called names.
A coward! Whoa! 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 What the f*** was that? Whoa! What the f***? Holy f***! A knife just come.
I feel that Andrew is playing with fire. He should lay off John before someone gets hurt, because since John is already passed on, that someone will be Andrew. This resident is documenting their haunting, and it's about to get very real. Shared by YouTuber The Real Texas Ghost Hunters. This video's original source is YouTube channel, Sabia L. The residents start singing to themselves to remain calm, but it doesn't help matters. The object continues to move, but eventually slows to a stop after calming down. The sound starts up again. The poltergeist moves from the bedroom to the kitchen. There's nothing there, that we can see at least. I don't know if this is real or not, but it absolutely terrifies me to my very core. I feel like we all need to check under our beds now. This poltergeist is cooking up something scary. A YouTuber's security camera captured his kitchen coming to life. Moments later, this happened. And then... Not satisfied with the first couple forks, the poltergeist gets one last in for good measure. I'm guessing this poltergeist is either an angry cook or that he's a foodie who's lost his appetite in the afterlife. Is this house haunted? Posted by YouTuber Ricky Velasquez. A security camera captured some jarring movement in the living room. Watch the sofa.
What? Red?
After the sofa appears to be shoved by something unseen, the woman shouts at her partner in alarm. Let's see it again.
What?
The sofa is given a good push, but unfortunately the narrow view prevents us from seeing if there's anything off camera. Although her reaction seems genuinely disturbed, I can't say that this couldn't be faked. We're gonna need a few more cameras. Things are getting out of hand with this pyro poltergeist, published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang.
Cara do céu!
The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames.
Cara do céu, amigo.
Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video, when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. YouTuber Blogger Sky Bypass isn't getting any sleep tonight. This is night 2 in this apartment with a poltergeist. As he walks through the apartment, something comes flying off the wall. It turns out to be a small picture. After asking if the spirit did this, he hears a quiet voice. Here it is with the volume enhanced. He asks the spirit to do something else, and it obliges. Here it is from the other side. This goes to show that you shouldn't ask unless you want an answer. I think this spirit's answer is pretty obvious. Get out of here. This one might be harder to hear, but it's worth it. While investigating, YouTuber's ghost dimension heard something strange at Newsham Park Hospital in Liverpool, England. Listen closely.
That's how I can understand it. It said something, but not like our language.
Oh my god, like tongue or something.
Yeah, that's Poltergeist.
Is it?
Foreign tongue. And a crowd.
Tongues.
First, they hear voices in a foreign tongue, and as they listen, they hear a snap. A little later, they hear more unexplained sounds.
Yeah. I heard that. Yes. I heard that.
With these, I'm getting a bad feeling.
Oh, don't, please don't.
No, I am.
To me, it sounds like distant footsteps and voices. And then, immediately after Neil asks if anyone is there, you can hear a subtle humming.
Should we go upstairs? Should we go down? Because that woman's downstairs. I'll go up. Yeah.
And as they're about to head downstairs, they hear an undeniable racket from the basement.
I just got a feeling that there's more than one.
When the sound gets louder, they hightail it upstairs.
I stopped her. She was calling me Yang.
Neil, stay with me. Neil. Neil, stay behind us.
There was definitely something in that haunted hospital with them. I'm not sure if it was paranormal or perhaps another group of investigators, but hearing it without seeing anything put me on edge. The Sonora Inn was built in 1896 and is infamously haunted by many a spirit. Thomas writes that he worked night shift there in 2018 as he was setting up for breakfast at 5 a.m. This is what was captured on security camera. Watch the bowl he places on the counter in the top right corner. Let's see it again. Do you believe in this dining room poltergeist? I feel it might be a case of the wet surface of the bowl acting as a lubricant. After all, he did say it was a bowl of ice, but that's just my theory. What do you think? Upon entering a haunted place, oftentimes you know you're not welcome. That's what happened to the YouTube team, Dref David TV, when they entered this haunt.
Hello?
Something is thrown down the stairs at the team. You can tell it didn't fall, it was thrown. Although we can't see what threw this object, I'd take this as a sign that this spirit is a Grinch. A tech-savvy phantom is entering the chat. YouTuber Amatough Paranormal Tech YT went live on his YouTube channel, and his REM pod activated. So he set up a security camera in the room at night. This is what happened. An invisible entity enters. And not long after this happens, a light turns on and off. This footage is creepy for sure, but is it paranormal? Or can it be explained? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Amitav captures next. Some poltergeists are gentle, others are vicious. Published by Find Ghost in November of 2021. The uploader of this video writes, "Imagine coming home to this." Security footage captures a large and heavy-looking sofa flip forward onto its face unexpectedly. A moment later, a piece of glass is catapulted from a display in the corner. The glass launches across the room and hits a wall. Then something seems to be horseplaying with the camera itself. It is rolled around onto the floor, while yet another object appears to be on its way to falling over on it. The scary video cuts out before the object does, but I wonder what else this family came home to. These friends are talking in the kitchen when someone else pulls up a chair to join them. The only problem is, no one's there. When one of them finally notices that the chair is a full 2 or 3 feet away from the table, he's so startled that he doesn't even close the refrigerator. He just wants to get away fast, which is a realistic reaction for sure.
That chair move.
Of course, no one else in the group believes his bizarre story at first, but when they see it for themselves, their scared reaction are as legit as can be. I'll add that the fear and surprise on his face is readily apparent here too.
Chair move. You got crazy?
All of them are trying to come up with a rational explanation, and the best answer they have is that the man in a white shirt is somehow causing it to happen. It's true that the chair only seems to move when he is either approaching it or standing nearby. Just when they are beginning to calm down, a final event seems to confirm their suspicions.
Something's wrong with you, bro. Something's wrong with you.
Let me know what you think is happening here, and if you think this is a prank or the early stages of a spiritual possession. We've all been there. It's a stormy night. Every sound in the house is an evil entity vying for your soul. That must have been what this man was feeling when he saw this happen in his dining room on a stormy night. The clip shows a man enter his dining room, which appears completely normal. Every chair in place. He enters his laundry room, then casts the camera down the stairs. It appears that something must have happened to cause him to search his house. He says hello down the stairs. Is someone or something there? He decides to go into his basement to investigate. The wooden steps are incredibly rickety. As he's nearing the bottom, a terrifying racket is heard upstairs. He runs for his life, only to find his kitchen chairs precariously stacked up, balanced one on top of the other. The dining room light is swinging around. The shot is still, as the man crosses the room and stands frozen in fear at this ominous sight. The overhead light continues to swing, and nothing is there. There's something especially uneasy about the stacking of this man's furniture. Part of that uneasiness comes from the fact that no human could have done this particular building job in the short period of time that the man was away. Who do you think did it? Or what? A YouTuber named Chastity Pineda TV has a haunted basement. As this paranormal video shows, her camera detects motion at 2:52 a.m., but she can't see anything, only the sound of ghost footsteps. And 8 minutes later is when this 3 a.m. paranormal experience is archived for her to look at later. She puts the camera in a different spot, and on another night, 11:45 to be precise, she catches the swing in motion with all of the lights on, and at 2:20 the next afternoon, the swing is moving on its own and something new happens. Listen again. Did you hear the creepy kid's voice when the stick falls? That's an old walking stick they're interacting with, by the way. Perhaps this object is what's causing these events. Urban exploration videos and abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the stacked bathrooms.
Here's the driver's seat.
Alright, Kobe, I'm done with the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
You said we don't one at a time.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. A YouTuber known as Mr. Carter experiences some strange activity in his bedroom, starting with a lamp that crackles with an abundance of electricity in the air, possibly paranormal energy. And this chair moves by itself as a burst of orbs becomes visible. Is something pulling a string under the bed? Probably not. The antenna falls over and a barely visible orb floats over the radio itself. The chair lurches in the other direction, followed by something breathing. It's very faint, so tell me if you want to hear it. I'm going to have to go with a poltergeist on this one, but tell me what you think. This entry is a Poltergeist 3-parter. The first clip was published by Adam in November of 2021. It shows a cabinet with a mind of its own. One of the drawers opens repeatedly, slamming closed each time. Next, an object falls from above, knocking a picture frame and another object to the floor. But these poltergeists are just getting started. In the second clip, published in October of 2021 by Weird and the Bizarro News, a soda can on the counter moves ever so slightly. It later slides across the counter and twirls all the way down. Then it begins to jump up and down. Another creepy clip shows a computer lab with a couple of office chairs acting on their own. They wheel around the lab, twirling and then really launching across the floor. If these clips weren't caught on camera, would you believe they happened? This video evidence seems to prove that no matter how much we think we know, we do not know everything. A YouTuber called Wet Tent catches a poltergeist in action in his home. As evidenced by this slamming door, he shows that there is nobody on the other side, and then waits for it to happen again. It's creepy until you see his window is open, so it could be a breeze. And here at 13 seconds, you can see a tag on his covers move in the wind. I just wanted to show this video because I think that it could help explain other videos with slamming doors. Still, I would not totally discount this video. Wet Tent should make a new one with the window closed and see if it still happens. Come Out and Play, posted in January of 2014. This poltergeist knows how to have fun. A group of friends are hanging out along a city river at night. As the cameraman scans the area, one of the girls spots it first, a swing swaying back and forth rather forcefully on its own. The night is still, the wind barely moving the leaves in the trees, and yet this swing is moving with energy. As Lex Cotton writes in the comments, the thing is moving too fast to be pulled by strings or the wind. Who then is moving it? And do you want to play? I sure wouldn't, because it looks like this is the work of a nefarious ghost. This driveway ghost likes to mess around. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in March of 2021. CCTV footage caught something scary and mysterious in this driveway. The video shows a rock flung or kicked onto the driveway from something off camera. A moment later, a ball bounces into view from a space to the side of the drive. It rolls around for a moment before coming to a standstill. Then a chair scrapes forward and is leaning off of the step back and forth before being flung forward onto the drive. Sounds are heard out of sight. followed by a small footstool thrown into view from the same storage space. A strange shadow is seen on the back wall, floating in the air. It moves into frame and hovers before retreating back again. Then a fuller shadow figure makes its way into the picture. Rather, it looks like a strange creature crouched down is casting a large shadow against the wall. The floating figure appears again higher up on the wall. Where these mysterious beings causing the poltergeist activity? I guess we'll never know for sure. This ghost is hungry. Published by Pilot Error Podcast in December of 2020, this woman was finally able to capture on camera what had apparently been happening for a while. After hearing a noise in the kitchen, she grabs her camera and waits. That's when she sees this. The cupboard is opening just a little bit at first, then it opens a little wider, and then, instead of running away from the spirit, this woman runs toward it.
Roll open.
And once in the kitchen, things get worse. Is this poltergeist just inviting everyone to dinner? And will you attend? Should be. This family is living with paranormal activity, and this short clip, shared by YouTube channel Paranormal Encounters Shorts, is just a taste of what they're experiencing. Listen closely.
What?
What's that?
No, stop. Stop.
Okay, let me get the...
Stop. Really?
Oh my god.
One of the crew thinks he knows what it is.
It's silverware.
Alright, my hair just jumped on the shit.
What?
What?
Just wait a second.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah, I am.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Was it silverware? And if it was, who is clattering it?
What?
Whoever is banging around this haunted home sounds dreadfully impatient to me. I think it might be time to get this home blessed. A CCTV video captures an ill-mannered apparition as it ravages a store just 20 minutes shy of 3 a.m. It slinks across the far wall first, knocking 2 items off the opposite shelf as it moves down the aisle. To be honest though, the way this object on the top shelf gets caught at 13 seconds looks like it could be pulled by a string. Next, the shadow somehow passes across the aisle without appearing in the glass or the bright reflection on the floor. A minute later, the door to the cooler shakes hard enough to rattle the glass in its pane. Camera 7 shows the outside of the cooler, and camera 8 shows the inside. Nobody is anywhere nearby, or in the entire store for the matter, and yet the door shakes uncontrollably. I think this could be a real poltergeist, because of one simple fact: this door is airtight to keep the drinks cold, it has no knob to grab onto, and must be opened with a button on the wall. Therefore, I don't think somebody could have made it shake like this, even if they stood on the other side and tried. Imagine getting a notification on your phone only to find this footage. The YouTube team Haunted Real Estate Investigations shares this video captured on a security camera. The homeowners had just moved in 6 months prior. Granted, the angle at which this footage is taken could allow a whole human to hide just out of sight, but the way the cupboards open and close doesn't really look human to me. Is this family dealing with a hungry ghost? I'd like to see more footage before drawing a conclusion, and until then, if I were the residents of this home, I wouldn't raid the pantry at midnight. It's not fun in games anymore when something like this happens. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by AdamGray59. The Redditor is wondering if this is poltergeist activity. In the video, some gamers are playing Call of Duty, and the gamer on screen appears to have gone for a bathroom or snack break. His chair is empty, Or maybe it isn't. The chair starts swiveling quietly around. Of course, this unnerves the player on the opposite side of the screen. Is a ghost occupying this chair? Redditor TommyMCY in the comments says, it's a gamer ghost. While others are more skeptical, saying things like chairs simply do that on their own. So, gamer ghost or just an off-kilter chair? I'd like to think a ghost was at the controls. An angry poltergeist haunting this room is throwing things off the shelf.
Hey! Allah Akbar, Allah. Ini rumah aku, kalau kau nak buat macam ni, kau yang aku takut. Aku takut.
But unfortunately for Arash Afnan, the paranormal activity does not end there.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Looking straight at him is a mysterious figure standing in the kitchen. A shadow figure that is clearly in the shape of a person.
Allah. Look.
But when he chases it into the kitchen, it's gone and the drawer where it was just standing opens all by itself. Now that's just terrifying. YouTubers Lainey and Ben regularly document the paranormal activity in their uber haunted home. As they're taking questions from their subscribers, some of the activity happens right behind them.
Says, does it feel like a good or a bad spirit, and what energy does it give off? I think there's no threats.
Nah, like, it's never touched us or hurt us, like, so I don't think there's anything bad about it. I think, if anything, it might be like a relative, because, like, it's not harmful to us, so it's not like...
First, they notice the paper towel roll.
Like, it's never touched us or hurt us, like, so I don't...
Lainey seems to hear it move. She looks over her shoulder but doesn't quite catch it in action.
So I don't think there's anything bad about it. I think, if anything, it might be like a relative.
Then the cupboard door pops open for a second.
To us, so it's not, like, bad in that...
Watching the camera, Lainey sees the activity behind her this time. I believe Lainey and Ben's home is haunted without question. They have a lot of evidence to back them. I just don't know how they can live with this. Things get loud in this poltergeist paradise. Posted to TikTok, the original footage is from Dark Ghost Paranormal. In the clip, someone is wandering through a clearly haunted house. You can hear repeated banging before you can see the creepy poltergeist in the act. The culprit in the kitchen cupboard, whose door is banging over and over again. It seems like it will never end, but all of a sudden it stops. As the person steps into the kitchen, a deep gong is heard from another direction. They whip around and are looking toward a refrigerator, but there's nothing there. Although there's thankfully no jump scare, there's certainly something going on in this poltergeist paradise. Ghosts appear in the unlikeliest of places. Published to YouTube in February of 2012, Mad Mupp writes, "This is actual unedited security camera footage recorded by myself using my phone. The gate captured in the security footage is locked with a padlock. According to Mad Mupp, the padlock was firmly locked 5 minutes earlier, and someone working in the warehouse had gone to the keys, and then this happened. The CCTV footage shows the gate being pushed roughly, then you can see the padlock unlocking and twisting open on its own, allowing the gates to swing wide. There's absolutely no one around. Is this the work of a warehouse ghost who just doesn't want to punch out, or is it something not paranormal altogether? But it seems like it just can't be explained to me." This video is short and sweet and will leave you frozen in fear. Shared by Twitter user Kazos Paranormales. No context has been shared, so let's just watch. Here's what I can collect is happening here. First off, the garbage scattered around the room is oddly unsettling. But this takes the cake. I'm not sure what's exactly happening in this video, but I do want to yeet it to the sun. While investigating the Englefield Green Social Hall, YouTube team Southern Ghost Society captures some clear poltergeist activity. Listen closely for the EVP. I'm not sure what that sound was, but another camera manages to capture it from a different angle.
Southern. Oi. This table just went. Holy no.
It sounds to me like a door creaks and then something bangs loudly nearby. We can't see anything in the darkness, so I'd be curious to find out if anything was moved once the lights were turned back on. Regardless, this does seem to me to be paranormal. Something's cooking in this kitchen. Published by Sasha 180683 in December of 2012. A poltergeist is startling this haunted resident. As the resident enters, a curtain that's hung in front of a washer and dryer keeps fluttering. Then a cupboard pushes open on its own, one of its doors thudding against the stove. The door swings closed and open, moving uncannily. The curtain again moves strangely around, and then back to the cupboard door. The cameraman slowly backs out of the room and then moves forward again, getting a closer look at the cupboard door and the curtain. No strings and the window isn't open. He shows the camera that it's 2 a.m. After closing the cupboard again, the door swings open, and the curtain plays around a bit more. What invisible energy powers this kitchen? A poltergeist would be my guess. A subscriber contacted YouTuber Kolya of Seeker of Ghosts with a complaint of a poltergeist causing havoc in his apartment. Kolya heads to the place to investigate, and to spend a sleepless night. With some candles, he asks the spirit to show itself.
Если ты сейчас здесь и слышишь меня, прояви себя. Спасибо за то, что ты себя проявил.
It is here. Not long after, it makes a bigger fuss.
Офигеть, какая-то уже паранормальная тема. Смотрите, друзья.
After shaking the desk and flickering the lights, the poltergeist starts throwing things. As he tours the home, more activity occurs in the next room. And then this happens. Something is angry here, but as this is the end of the video, we won't see how that anger escalates, but if I had to guess, I'd say Kolya will get no sleep tonight. This apartment has a rogue poltergeist on the loose, and Seeker of Ghosts has come to tame it. First, the poltergeist demands that you wash your hands. In fact, he's pretty adamant about it. He then takes another tack. And later shuts the investigator in. Bored, he switches the TV on. Then this happens.
Какой?
After that, it's no holds barred. Later, as the investigator talks to the camera, the poltergeist becomes the director.
Я пока в таких догадках, что
I don't know about you, but I don't think the taming is working yet. Are you working shoulder to shoulder with ghosts? YouTuber Graham Lee is, and this time they caught the spirit in the act. Watch the left-hand corner of the screen.
You see that there?
The box is sitting flat on the shelf before it slides forward and then leaps to the ground.
You see that there?
The uploader writes that there was no way anything could have pushed it off. To be honest, it's hard to tell from this angle if that's the case.
You see that there?
Something may have fallen behind it, propelling it forward, or perhaps it was somehow unstable on the shelf to begin with. So before I conclude this was the act of a phantom co-worker, I'm going to need to see more footage. Does this internet cafe have some unwanted customers? Redditor Juice173 thinks it does. He explains that he works in pest control, and this internet cafe was one of his clients. After seeing this footage, the owner insisted that he still has rats. Here is the surveillance video. Here's a clip from another angle. It's strange to me that something falls off of the shelf or is pushed right before the entire thing breaks. I would say it's just a matter of shoddy workmanship rather than something paranormal if it wasn't for that. But this makes me think that there's something more complex going on here, and I see no rat. This ghost has no chill. Filmed at Chillingham and shared by YouTuber The Bell Monkey. This scary video shows some surprising poltergeist activity. Watch the vase on the shelf.
What? Someone's hitting. What? The heck? What? What the? What? I think I saw. It's on camera. I'll be like, what?
After being questioned, for far too long, the truth comes out at last.
What? What was it then? Just go out of the room. What are you f***ing screaming about and looking white in the face for and got a mouth open like Halloween? What?
They also realized that two vases fell from the mantle, which makes this all the more odd.
What was it? Is that one? It's two falling off.
While this doesn't in itself confirm paranormal activity to me, it certainly is grounds for further investigation. A YouTuber named Yvonne hears a noise coming from her kitchen and grabs her phone to record. After 15 seconds of silence, a cabinet door opens to let an item drop onto the counter.
Oh my god.
The obvious answer is that someone pulled a string to open it. However, the cabinet opens to the right and no one is on that side. I guess someone could have been directly underneath. But when Yvonne gets closer, you can see nobody is on the ground. So I'm not sure what to think. This poltergeist is throwing a tantrum. Published by Derek Hull in February of 2021. The angsty Geist is first seen slamming a door in the cameraman's face. Exhilarated that he caught it on camera, the man races to the door and opens it, finding no one inside.
Yes, I caught it! What the heck?
He runs back through, asking the poltergeist to repeat the action, but the door remains open. One of the crew enters the room while the others stand outside, watching the door. They approach and the door closes again. It isn't clear if the other crew member was inside the room, as there was a cut in the video. It doesn't seem like he exited. They apologize for angering the poltergeist and say they will leave.
Alright, I'm gonna open the door and that's it. We're gonna leave, okay? Sorry for off.
But that's not without one last slam, this time coming from some shutters off to the right, I assume.
Oh, there's two couple right there by the bucket.
Is this spirit moving around them? Or is it all-encompassing? For years, this man experienced paranormal activity in his home, including books and Xbox games thrown on the floor and lights turned on. After setting up a camera, he finally captured footage of the poltergeist, published by Seth Lee Thompson in July of 2010. This is just a small taste of what Seth has been dealing with. A second clip shows the stairwell at night. The last clip shows the ghost playing with the lights. According to Seth, the light switch you see to the right is the only one connected to the corresponding light. It flicks on and off several times. Is this hallway haunted? If it is, don't be scared. As YouTuber Dark Pisces reminds us in the comments, just because spirits move things does not make them automatically evil. Paranormal activity was recently caught on video by this family in Pakistan, but I'm not sure if this is a poltergeist or just them throwing things around, so help me decide. Most of the objects come from the corner of the screen and could have been easily thrown by someone off camera. I'm not sure how they made the table come back after it was thrown against the wall, but it doesn't look that heavy, so maybe it was on a wire. I guess we'll never know for sure. An all-white mysterious mist approaches this home and briefly flies away, only to come back in the opposite direction and fly off camera once more. I was thinking that this could be some kind of bug crawling across the lens until I took a second look, this time observing its behavior. Upon returning, the phantom mist reaches out and actually taps on the door with some kind of ghostly appendages. The timing and placement of its knocking gesture makes me think that this is probably a poltergeist playing tricks on the people inside. When a poltergeist displays his candor over a period of several days, you gotta see it for what it is, a permanent unwanted house guest. Published to YouTube in October of 2019, this video shows a series of poltergeist activities occurring in this couple's kitchen. On day 4, the salt and pepper shakers sitting on the kitchen countertop start to move slightly, then the salt falls over altogether. On day 8, the couple is in the kitchen. The woman is cooking something and sets the hand blender on the counter. It's turned off. She goes to the fridge to retrieve an egg and this happens. She drops the egg in fright, while the man calmly turns off the blender. On day 24, the man enters his kitchen to get a glass of water. His back turned to the stove. One of the burners suddenly turns on of its own accord. A pan on the stove slowly slides over to the lit burner, again all on its own. The man just stands there drinking his water, watching this happen. He takes 2 eggs from the fridge and sets them on the counter, inviting the poltergeist to cook. Maybe this is the best way to go about living with a poltergeist, just accept that you have a third, somewhat mischievous roommate. When you experience regular poltergeist activity in your home, monitoring it becomes top priority. YouTuber Donnie Drunkard shares this VR 360 video from a GoPro Max of his home's demonic activity. You can hear faint knocks or footsteps repeatedly. More unexplained sounds unfold.
Well,
not long after, there's a major smashing noise, followed by REM pod activity. You can also hear faint voices at this point, maybe from a TV turning on. Not long after, this happens. And again, it sounds like the TV has been turned on or someone is speaking. The voice comes and goes throughout the remainder of the clip, but turning 360, you can't see anything on. And lastly, the spirits play a short tune. This video is particularly unsettling to me because you can see all 4 corners of the room at any time, so you know nobody is pulling the strings. I'm convinced that Donnie's house is haunted, and considering the noises, the demon doesn't sound friendly. We've seen plenty of poltergeists on top 15s, but this one is particularly aggressive. Posted to very spooky videos, a major malfunction writes, person captures saucer levitating as poltergeist takes over a room. The video begins in complete chaos as the light from an overhanging fan flashes on and off. While the fan is going, then on the wall, a picture in its frame starts to bang. A moment later, a cup levitates off the table, flings up into the air, and then falls to the floor. The man taking the video gets the heck out of there. That's right, put as many miles as you can between you and that poltergeist. Seems like Mad Max. This poltergeist is not at all timid. Published by JCG Dragon in August of 2019. This scary video was filmed in a haunted home in Argentina. The video shows a bedroom door slamming as hard as it can. The cameraman approaches the door, opens it, and in the opposite room, captures objects being thrown on the floor. Assumedly by the same poltergeist, the cameraman enters the room crying in fear. When he turns the corner, there is nothing there, but slamming is heard again.
Ay, a la concha de la lora.
And he turns to find the door from the other room has slammed shut again. And what's worse, the power goes out. It sounds like the camera is dropped to the floor.
Ay, no. Ay, no.
What havoc will now ensue in the darkness? As the video ends there, it's left up to our imaginations. But judging from how these events are playing out, I can't think it's anything good. An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
About what dangers might we... Oh, exit. Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. That's one thing. Someone give me another one then. Strangers.
I'll just move down as well.
Right. What we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. While one ghost is lecturing, another is filing papers. YouTube channel Behind a Side shares this video of a phantom seemingly getting some clerical tasks done. While I'd say the drawer falling open could be explained, how do you explain this? That's some spirited paperwork. I think the soul of a disgruntled former employee is here to cause havoc and mayhem. While sitting around playing video games, little did this guy know he was about to be in one. Published by C. Sano Act in November of 2011, this guy was hanging out in the living room when he heard something from the kitchen. Getting up to check it out, he doesn't seem to see anything of substance, but something of substance knocks him to the floor. He's dragged across the room and out of sight. Is this ghost hinting that he should get his homework done? Or does this house have a serious poltergeist in residence? It'd be hard to ignore after an incident like this. Is Lainey and Ben's poltergeist getting stronger? Watch this video and judge for yourself. As usual, the poltergeist seems to be most active in the kitchen.
Activity is more and more aggressive.
He has even resorted to ruining their dinner.
Poltergeists just seem to be so frustrated.
Oh, black them.
And he isn't finished. It goes without saying that Lainey and Ben share space with one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. I don't know if Dave and Andy are becoming more aggressive due to anger, or if their YouTube following is cheering them on. This one is out of sight. Published by Grid Synergy in November of 2017, this scary security footage was filmed in a computer lab at night. A man is working across two computers when an alarm sounds, jarring him to turn around. Clearly confused about what this alarm is for, the man gets up to look. After the alarm doesn't repeat, the man sits back down at his desk, satisfied that it must be nothing, but then a loud bang is heard. And after a moment off screen, a lot more racket is heard, followed by the man clearly fleeing in fear. He couldn't get out of there fast enough. What drove him to flee? With the man now gone, a strange creak is heard, followed by another loud bang. If only we could see what was happening off screen. Be careful what you wish for. This video allows a 360 view of what's going on. Head back to when the bang is heard. A light turns on in a room next to a foosball table. When the man heads off screen, he is heading over to check out this room. He looks in but sees nothing, though he picks something up off the floor. Perhaps this is what caused the noise. When he heads out again, he switches off the light. That's when the racket happens. The door slams and a chair shoots back from a desk in front of him. The man flees the scene, the light turns on in the room again, and this figure's reflection is seen in the window. As I said, be careful what you wish for, because now you can't unsee it.